Hello everyone, welcome to another fight analysis brought to you by Camille's Harem. Not just a podcast for novice writers by novice writers, but also a YouTube channel by novice writers for novice writers. Because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends. This is going to be a bit of a crazy one today. I am analyzing the fight between Team Gurren and the Anti-Spiral at the end of the series Gurren Lagann. If you haven't yet seen this staple of mecha anime, well, this video is going to contain a number of big spoilers, just so you have a heads up. This fight analysis comes at the suggestion of Harem member Vince, who had this to say about the fight between Gurren Lagann and the Anti-Spiral. I think it is a good symbolic fight. It has the Gurren team giving it their all against a foe that threatens the freedom of the entire universe. They expend every piece of equipment, every ounce of teamwork, and every drop of determination to defeat this foe. And that is a very apt description of this fight, and an excellent reason to analyze it as well. I mean, just by the fact that it basically starts in episode 22 and then goes all the way until episode 27, the battle against the Anti-Spiral literally takes everything humanity has to come out on top. And it feels like one of those most hard-earned victories in anime. When watching it, I was just like, holy dang, I'm feeling drained watching this, and there's still more episodes to go. It's so good. Because I have something special in mind for this fight analysis, I'm just diving right into the meat of the matter. My two core questions in regards to analyzing and writing fight scenes are, 1, what is the story that is being told here, and 2, what is the purpose of this fight? To answer the first question, the show Gurren Lagann is a tale of the human spirit and its boundless potential. It begins with humanity living in underground villages under the constant fear and threat of deadly earthquakes. One of the people living in these villages, a young man by the name of Camille, leads a gang supported by a kid, Simon the Digger, to try and break out to the surface. They don't want to live anymore in this dark subterranean world. But one day, after finding a little ship that has a face on it, the surface comes to greet them with a giant ship called a gunman crashing through the roof of their village. Camille and Simon are thrown then into this crazy new world where humans fight against creatures called beastmen who operate these massive gunmen in order to kill humans. And the friends learn really fast that this little faced ship that they found, which they call Lagann, can not only fight these other gunmen, but it can also merge with them as well, and they use it to form Gurren Lagann, this awesome samurai-looking, wearing cool glasses machine that just kicks a major butt. And as they fight their way to the capital of the villain, the Spiral King, the leader of the Beastmen, Camille is killed, and Simon discovers that the king has a bunch of discarded children, one of them who is still alive, whose name is Nia. They also amass a gang of rough and tumble but capable fighters from all over the area, and they name themselves Team Gurren. Simon takes the lead and pilots Gurren Lagann to victory against the Spiral King, slaying him. But in his dying breath, the king states that humanity will reach a point in its population, 1 million to be exact, and then once they reach that point, they will be destroyed from above. Years later, humanity lives in a beautiful city that's highly advanced. They no longer live underground. Life is good and plentiful, and Team Gurren is now stuck playing politics in stuffy office jobs, with Simon's friend Rossiu really kind of pulling the strings to everything. But Simon's content with all of this, especially because Nia has accepted his proposal of marriage. Huzzah! This is so awesome. Good on you, little guy. But everything goes downhill super fast when that millionth human is born and a new enemy called the Anti-Spiral reveals itself. Nia is then converted into a messenger of humanity's fate, and with an army of war machines heralding the end, the moon is set on a collision course with the Earth. An important note to make about Gurren Lagann, the show, aside from the overall story, is exactly the type of story that is being told here. It is a mecha anime, but it's not just that, and it's not just an end of the world or a coming of age tale, though it contains all of these things. Really, at its heart, it's just this over-the-top, crazy story that moves almost at the speed of thought. and it really doesn't take itself too seriously. And it's purposefully intended that way, not only to create some really bizarre situations and some really epic sequences of actions and events, but because it seems as though it doesn't really take itself too seriously, it just moves really fast, it's just really kind of fun, it allows the show at the end to really highlight two important things. One is that it can have now these really highly improbable yet very entertaining animated battles that are just so over the top that it just pulls you in and gets your heart racing. And secondly, to highlight the spirit which the heroes exhibit, their determination to overcome all obstacles. Because the show really isn't going to get too deep into anything such as like physics or how the gunmen actually operate, or even really most of the character arcs, it can then really highlight how humanity is struggling to overcome these obstacles, which is very important for the climax at the end, how really all of their struggles lead to one specific moment to reveal a pretty neat concept of the human spirit. Now, to answer the second question, what is the purpose of this fight? Well, it is the culmination of the entire series thus far, as very well an end battle should be. It is the fight to rescue Nia from the anti-spiral, and to save humanity, and to destroy the anti-spiral itself. Things really heat up when Rossio tries to evacuate humanity from the Earth in episode 22, and they get caught in a trap that's been set by the enemy. Rossio thought that he could succeed in escaping by reanimating the Spiral King's head and using it as a navigating computer and AI to help pilot this giant ark into space. However, humanity cannot win on knowledge alone. It's the human spirit that will get them through, and Zimon, piloting Gurren Lagann, is able to tap into that power, and he leads a charge of the old Team Daiguren to break the trap. They then commandeer the Ark itself and use the Spiral King's knowledge to find the moon's piloting system and shut it down. Then, using Zimon and Nia's connection through their love, they open a portal to the anti-spiral dimension and swap Earth's real moon, which was placed in that dimension, with the enemy's moon weapon. And now they have a path to this other dimension, which is just full of wandering planets and galaxies that the anti-spiral just seems to have kind of collected. And once they get in there, that's when they really enter the Lion's Den, and the face-off against the anti-spiral forces really takes a new turn. Team Daiguren's gunmen are able to destroy much of the anti-spiral fleet, these really weird hands, face, feet things. But a lot of sacrifices are made along the way, and many of the show's heroes up until this point die in the effort to save the younger members of the team from being overwhelmed by the enemy fleet. But even with these sacrifices, it seems like the team is about to pull out the big win, but then the anti-spiral activates the next in its deadly arsenal of traps. The entire fight with the Armada has really been nothing more than to get the team to dig deep into the human spirit, or as they refer to it, their spiral energy, in order to activate what they call a spiral well. And what it is that it's really, the spiral well is a kind of black hole that pulls on other sources of spiral energy, and it swallows up Team Daiguren. And the more they struggle to break out, the more that they expend their energy, the further and quicker they are pulled into it and just crushed. They then decide that, screw this, we're not going to break out, we're going to go right at the center of the well itself, and we're going to overwhelm it with energy. And this is where you get the really emotional moment where Gitan ends up sacrificing himself to destroy the well's core and free everyone. This then releases all of the energy that the spiral well has held, and seizing upon the stored up power within the well, the spiral warriors are able to just break out, and they transform the entire ship into the super galaxy Gurren Lagann. They break free and start annihilating what remains of the anti-spiral armada. The anti-spiral then contacts them and reveals the true nature of spiral energy, and how if it is left unchecked, it will lead to the destruction of the entire universe. Zemon refuses, though, to give up and states that living is better than giving into fear, and he swears to rescue Nia and protect humanity from this dark fate that the anti-spiral foresees. The anti-spiral starts then manipulating probability, and just everything just starts shifting and becoming weird as they fight in the past, present, and future all at once. Through a battle of planets and massive machines, the team jumps right to Nia's location via the engagement ring that she is wearing, once again using that connection between her and Zemon, but they are trapped en route in another trap, this time a complex web of alternate timelines and possibilities, leading them to get lost in other lives, which diminishes their spiral energy. Then Kamina's spirit connects with Zemon and with the others and helps them to realize what it means to live, and that they need to continue fighting, that they are the ones that determine where their lives are really going to go, that they are the ones who are in complete control of their futures. The team finally comes together, and Zemon jumps everyone through his engagement ring on Nia's hand, bringing Gurren Lagann with him as well. And with everyone finally reunited, Nia and Zemon sit in the cockpit and lead the fight against the anti-spiral himself. All the survivors combine their spiral energy together, and the mecha does one last transformation to become the Goliath known as Tenga Toppa Gurren Lagann. That's a mouthful right there. But behold his majesty. The anti-spiral forgoes all traps now and takes on a form befitting of fighting Gurren Lagann in single combat. They battle it out in a field of infinite spiral energy where both sides can convert their very thoughts into reality and impose them on one another. They war with super moves on the surface of galaxies, obliterating them with their actions. And that's when the team finds out that the crown of the anti-spiral's own strange gunman is where the planet of the anti-spiral is. The world of humanoid creatures, as best we can tell, who saw that their actions would lead to the end of the universe. So they took over their own spiral powers and suppressed them, and then they scattered all other spiral beings across the universe and ruined and halted their own evolution. And they then created all of these traps to prevent any other spiral race from ever rising again. The anti-spiral starts winning the fight and gloats over humanity's lack of resolve. The Earth is exposed in the fight, and the anti-spiral moves to destroy it. Everyone back at home sees what is going on, and in proper anime fashion, they prove that cheering at the television set can help your team win. Just as the anti-spiral hits the team with the force of the Big Bang, the Spiral King, now rejuvenated for this fight, sacrifices himself to absorb the blast and convert the force of the universe's creation into pure spiral energy for Zemon to use. With now limitless power at his fingertips, the two enemies trade ferocious blows as the anti-spiral berates Zemon in his futile dreams. Zemon then responds that these dreams are what pushes humanity forward. It is the dreams of the past interwoven with the dreams of the future, a double helix becoming a drill that bores the path to humanity's destiny. Whatever they desire, they can make that happen. That is the power of the human spirit. The team then impales their ship on the anti-spiral gunman in one last desperate attack to drive themselves right at the anti-spiral homeworld and bore a hole right through him. With his defeat, he asks Zemon to protect the universe, and Zemon swears that humanity will, that they're not that stupid to destroy it. The spiral universe between dimensions detonates and spews the team back towards Earth. Earth then is, well, saved, and humanity starts reaching to the stars to connect with the scattered spiral races. Nia and Zemon get married, but Nia vanishes as a result of the anti-spiral's programming within her, what made her become a turncoat earlier in the series. As that programming ceases to function, Nia ceases to exist, and Zemon decides that he'll return to his life as a digger, while humanity continues to move on and reach for new heights. And that's the battle and its consequences. Alright then, this is normally where I would break down some useful writing tips about writing fight scenes and so forth. But like I said from the beginning, I'm going to do something a little different this time around. I'm going to reverse engineer part of this epic clash into prose on the page. I have taken great umbrage with the argument that movies and shows can prevent a fight much better than what you read on the pages of a book. Another argument I think that is really damaging to our attempts at writing good action is this: it's always better in your head, and you can never get it from your head right onto the page. Well, those who believe that either don't quite grasp how shows and movies are written, and I stress written. True, fights take form in our minds first before becoming words on the page. But what you see on the screen was once words before it became those wonderful moving images. A transformation from images in the mind into words and then to pictures on the screen is quite a fascinating process. But for those who just write books, those of you who just want to write stuff and maybe not want to get into the realms of Hollywood and whatnot, it's important to really think about how you can take these epic, moving images within your own mind and turn them into words on the page. There are a lot of great books with incredible, engaging fight scenes that are just so epic that you actually wonder, how could they even turn this into a movie or into a show? If a fight is written well, the only thing that a change of medium does to that sequence is the dimensions by which you enjoy the action. But here is the challenge: to take a very creative and wacky fight like the anti-spiral and Gurren Lagann bout and transform it into the written word. I won't do this for the entire fight, but for just a small moment within the fight. I chose the moment when the anti-spiral monologues about the other team's fortitude and resolve, and how the anti-spiral feels that he is in the right, that he is much stronger because he has the fortitude and resolve to halt his own evolution, to halt the evolution of all his people, and to kill their fellow spiral race in order to prevent spiral evolution from potentially destroying the entire universe. After giving the battle some thought and continuous rewatching to transcribe this battle back into the written format, I would personally write it from differing perspectives, and that's really the route I went. I think that showing the fight from all the main POVs at different moments would highlight character arcs and world building and how that all kind of comes to a head in this epic anime clash. Everyone in this battle has something very precious at stake, and that should be shown. By no means is this a perfect rendition of the battle. After all, I'm just a novice writer myself here. But I hope that what I do here will get across my point and give you something to chew on, something to think about. Or at the very least, something to complain about in the comments. But, well, here we go. Oh, by the way, this will be an epic reading. "Foolish creatures, drunk on your own spiral power!" the anti-spiral roared. That voice, so condescending, so high and mighty. "Just who the hell do you think I am?" Viral thought in disgust. "I will not fail my honor or duty now. My will to live. I am a proud beastman." Just as when Derry and Gimme activating their cannons and blasters, or just as when Yoko had summoned her sniper rifle, Viral expressed his deepest desires to win and to live with a weapon he knew all too well. Drawing upon the power of the strange spiral pocket universe, Toppa Tengen Gurren Lagann manifested two swords. That weight was instantly comfortable and recognizable in Viral's hands. And just as before, that strange power rotating within the team allowed them all to move as one as Viral took his opportunity to strike at the anti-spiral. Once, where he had been just a beastman, doomed to be forever stagnant and dependent on the Spiral King, Viral now surged with spiral power. It was life. It was autonomy. It was meaning. It was the future. Had this been any other moment, he might have wept. But there was no time for that. All thoughts blazed into the past as he moved with Team Daigurren to bisect the anti-spiral. Blades from tails and long arms erupted from the enemy gunmen, and he met Viral's attack with his own vicious countering blow. Their blades locked. The anti-spiral continued to rage. "Do you possess the resolve to do that? We defended the universe by killing our fellow spirals and halting our own evolution!" For a brief moment, Viral caught a glimpse of the world encased in the gunman's helmet, a world converted into a giant stasis machine, a world imprisoning countless individuals who had thrown away their potential and used their spiral energy to create death traps and commit galactic genocide. How could they lie there and demand that Viral give up his life? All because of who he was. Do you possess the sheer fortitude that is on par with that? Do you? Finally, they broke apart. Their swords and blades sang. They wove their weapons in a flurry of blows that the eye could barely follow. Viral could feel the others giving it their all, the swords speeding with their own wills to live and to win. But the anti-spiral was their equal. He blocked and attacked with ferocity and grace beyond what any sword master could hope to achieve. Viral could almost feel his spittle as the anti-spiral screamed, "We say no! No, 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 no! Not at all!" Despite their best efforts to ward off the attacks, the anti-spiral slipped past Tengen's blades and landed a decisive blow. The Galaxy-class gunman was sent careening into the stars and galaxies that surrounded the battlefield. Viral lost his sight of the enemy and clung on to life. The anti-spiral fumed as he sent the spirals and their gaudy gunmen flying. Their swords were shattered, but he could tell their spirits remained intact. How dare they? Did they not see? Did they not really understand? Defeating the anti-spirals was just as pointless as thinking they could overcome the dangers of spiral power through sheer will alone. It was beyond childish and foolish. But why do they persist? He thought, enraged. No matter. They cannot, will not succeed. They do not know the horrors we know, the sacrifices we have made. As Tengen rebounded against the galaxies that populated this dimension, the anti-spiral launched himself above them, arcing himself so he could land a crushing blow from above. The purple flames that made his machine flare, and casting a dark shadow, loomed over Team Daiguren. His eyes gleamed with both resolve and murder. You possess neither will nor resolve! His anger hit its peak, and he drove a clawed foot into the gunman's gut. No reason! He drove them mercilessly downward, galaxies shattered into decimated star systems and dust under their combined weight and power. Could they not see? This was the destruction their spiral energy would cause. He would show it to them, grind it into them as he broke their very bodies and spirits. Down, down, down he pushed them, willing them to die. They finally crashed against the plane of stars where the fight had begun. Tengen bounced and crumpled with exhaustion and defeat as the anti-spiral landed above them. But the battle was not done yet. You use your spiral powers to satisfy your own desires and grow drunk on it. It is your fundamental limitation. It is for that very reason we must exterminate you. Okay, so that is but one small moment in the fight. True, when you write it all out, it does not run as fast as it does on screen. But I hope I managed to capture and convey some of the same feeling of epicness, of the speed, of the stakes involved in this fight. If I wanted to do the entire battle scene justice, I would have really written it all out from the beginning to the end and really used the firmly established POVs from Zimon throughout the team to the anti-spiral himself. I decided to go with Viral's character to allow him to shine a little bit more than he does in the fight, and highlight what the Beast Man has to lose or gain by participating in this battle. I know I kind of put words into his mouth with his inner monologue, but I think they reflected his own journey throughout the series. I will post what I wrote onto our Reddit, where you can check out what exactly I wrote and how I put together my paragraphs and my sentences, and feel free to critique what I've done and see how you would have written this battle scene differently. I'd really like to see what you would do. I had a lot of fun with this quick exercise, and I think it might prove useful for you as well in engineering your own fight scenes. This will give you a chance to break down action mechanics, the stakes involved, and how character arcs are interwoven, the placing of imagery, and also the pacing of your fights. So really, this is my solid writing advice for this video. Take your favorite action scenes or your fight scenes, your battles, whatever, from movies and shows that you really enjoy and turn them into combat moments on paper. This is a chance for you then to read through what you've written and see if it evokes the same feelings and excitement as when you watch these moments on screen. And it's also a great moment, or really a great experience for your readers to see if it also works the same for them. It will give you a chance to see what kind of writing styles work, what kind of thought processes and mechanics for fights, etc. will work well to convey a fight that you already know really well, and then turn it into something entertaining and engaging on the page. By doing this, I hope that you'll then have a chance to really see, okay, this is what made this fight work. And this kind of writing style worked really well to convey it. Now let's see if that writing style will work really well for me now as I write my own action pieces. So that is your homework. And please feel free to share your attempts at doing it with us on social media, especially at our Reddit, where we lead discussions and give you a chance to strut your stuff. And please check out what episodes and group discussions we also have on our podcast, Camille's Harem, found on Podbean, iTunes, and Google Play. And we have further inspirational material on our Pinterest and Tumblr for you to check out. And please help us out in our hunt for terrible fanfics by sending us links to them via our Twitter. We'll select the absolute worst of the bunch and do epic readings of them for your entertainment. Thanks for spending time with us on this video, and on this adventure we call writing. And until next time, tschüss.